Alright guys, we're back, and it looks like it's gonna be one of them nights where we just get non-stop information. So we have the trailer here. Actually, let me turn on the overlay real quick. Okay, so we have the trailer here for the Dawn Brigade banner, which we just saw in the Face channel. So we already know the units, but we don't really know what their skills are and what their weapons do and all that good stuff. So why don't we check it out and see? Alright, so of course we're starting things off with Edward here. Now, actually, I'm a little disappointed. I don't know if I should say that, but this is probably going to be the only Dawn Brigade banner we get in a very long time, and there are still quite a lot of Dawn Brigade characters that they had to add. Like, Laura was one. Nolan was actually the one that I really wanted the most, but we didn't get Nolan on here. Stefan isn't really Dawn Brigade, but I would have loved to get Stefan in here. Dude, the cast in Tellius is just too good, man. They could add Tellius characters for the next, like, 6 banners straight, and we wouldn't have everything we need. Okay, so Kalidbolg for Edward here. 16 might, 1 range, -1 special trigger. At the start of combat, if his HP is over 25%, he gains all stats of X, where X is 25% of the foe's attack at the start of combat, -4, with a max of 14 and a min of 5. So now, like, that's just the common standard. Every weapon is just giving all stats of 14 nowadays. Also neutralizes effects that inflict guard on unit and reduces the percentage of foes' non-special DR by half. So he nullifies guard, cuts DR in half, and grants special cooldown count -1 to unit before foe's first attack in combat. Wait, is that Scowl? No, that's not Scowl. He gives it to himself there. So that's good for godlike reflexes. He can get his godlike reflexes charged up before the enemies hit him. So that's very good. Also, at the start of combat, if his HP is over 25%, reduces damage from foes' first attacks by Y during combat. When foes attack triggers foes' special, Y is 16. Jesus Christ, 16 points of flat DR. When foes' attack does not trigger foes' special, Y is 8. So if that's if they have a defensive special then. Excluding AoEs, and units' next attack deals damage equal to the total damage reduced from foes' first attack, which, I mean, they just showed 16 there, but you could also get more if he has, like, DR effects. And units, and also resets at the end of combat. So he has reflective damage, which is very powerful, and it scales up really high when you're using stuff like GLR, of course, on top of the 16-point DR if the enemies have a damaging special. Then he's also got Buffer 4 as well, which is really good. So he seems really strong, actually. Surprising for a God Sword. And then he has Breath of Life 4. So people were waiting on this, actually, considering that we had, what was it? Savage Blow got a level 4 in Deadly Miasma. So here we go. For allies in 2 spaces a unit, recovers X HP to that ally as their combat begins. Actually, that's pretty good. As combat begins is pretty good. Triggers after effects that deal damage as combat begins. So that's Breath of Life 4 out here just countering the melt meta. You'll love to see it. So finally an answer to all the obnoxious melt damage. If allies' defense is better than foes' defense, X is 20% of allies' max HP, plus the difference between stats times 4. That's actually really good. And then otherwise, X is 20% of allies' max HP. 20% of max HP, let's say you have 40 HP. 20% of that would be, what, 40 over 5 for 8, so you get back 8 HP. But then if your defense is really good, you could get back more. So, sure, we'll definitely take that. Obviously, tanking units would have good defense anyway. Then a max of 40% of allies' max HP plus damage dealt to ally as combat begins. Only highest value applied, does not stack. Alright, for allies in 2 spaces a unit, grants defense of 4. So it's also a support too? Wow. And reduces the effects of deep... Wow. Okay, that's nuts. That it has drive deep wounds cut. So all of a sudden, Fatal Smoke 4 is not a counter to Emblem Ike anymore, if that's the case. Dude, what are we supposed to do about Emblem Ike? Like, they just keep on... I didn't expect them to make him better. You expect them to release things to make Emblem Ike worse, but this is the opposite of that. This is going to help him by 50% during combat. If unit is in 2 spaces of an ally, restores X HP to unit as unit's combat begins, so he also gets the effect as well. Triggers after effects that deal damage as combat begins, and if unit's defense is better than foe's defense, basically he just does the exact same effect to himself as well that he's giving to the support. This is really good, man. If unit is in 2 spaces of an ally, grants defense up 4 to unit and reduces the effects of deep wounds by half during combat. So he also gets that too. Incredible. Just a really good C skill. Very good Omni-Tank support. That's going to be really good. Breath of Life 3 has no restrictions, right? You can give it to anybody. So, like, this is actually going to be pretty clutch on dancers and, like, supporters that are not necessarily interested in fighting, but they just want to make your other allies better. Because, like, at this point, you probably want to run, like, Incited or Pledge or, like, maybe even Cancel Control, like, to just get something out of your C skill that's a little bit more tangible. Because they're not always going to have melt damage or deep wounds and stuff like that, but for a support unit that is just there to counterpick stuff, that's where that could come in handy. Okay, so there he gets off his godlike reflexes and then he counters. Leave it to Tellius, right? It's always Tellius that's going to have the most OP shit. Because, of course, Tellius is the most powerful continent. Alright, infantry, colorless bow from Leonardo. Unfortunately, things don't bode too well from him because this guy seems to be a demote. Alright, doubler bow plus 12 might 2 range, effective against flying. At the start of turn, if unit is in 2 spaces of an ally, grants attack and res up 6 to unit and allies in 2 spaces for 1 turn. Okay, that's actually not terrible. Just giving, like, the attack and res up 6 to allies as well is okay. If unit initiates combat or is in 2 spaces of an ally, grants all stats of X to unit during combat, where X is 4 plus the highest bonus on each stat between unit and allies in 2 spaces of unit. Oh, actually, that's pretty solid. That's bonus doubler 4 built in, right? Wow. Okay. So also combine that with close bonus doubler for this guy. And then he's cooking, actually, with... Yeah, no, that's a solid bow. That's probably about as good as, like, the... It's a little different than the arcane bows, because this one is, like, trying to stat ball. So you would want this on a bait type of bow unit, but, like, it can't argue with the stats. And also the ally stat boost is pretty solid. Luna, he's got attack res finish 3. Really nice to get a finish 3 skill as a demote. And then guard 3 as well. This is... I take back anything I said about him being a demote. This is how you do a good demote here. Okay, finally, though, we're getting level 3 finishes, man. It's been so long. Okay, so now we have a rearmed hero. Sothe is a rearmed hero, and then Micaiah is the attuned hero. Alright, so Sothe, our boy Sothe, what is he capable of? I do like that he has a dragon behind him when he's attacking. I'm not sure what that's about, but... Alright, he is an infantry colorless dagger. Alright, stats are right here, so 43 HP. I mean, there's a lot of blue and a lot of red there. Why don't we just wait until the data mines, which are going to be up as soon as this is done, by the way. As soon as I finish recording this, I'm going to have to hop in and do the refines in the data mines. So we'll take a better look at his stats there. The infantry school is what's making me very cautious about actually looking at those stats. Alright, so Arcane Tempest, 14 might 2 range, -1 special trigger. At the start of turn, if special cooldown count is at its maximum value, grants special cooldown count -1. So built-in Times Pulse, which is pretty good. Alright, at the start of combat, if unit's HP is over 25%, grants all stats of X to unit, where X is 25% of foe's attack at the start of combat -4, with a min of 5 and a max of 14. Okay. Reduces damage from foe's first attack by 30%, which includes their brave attack. And also, if unit speed is better than foe's speed, neutralizes effects that guarantee foe's follow-ups and prevent units' follow-ups. Okay, is this better than the arcane dagger from the Gap unit? Probably, actually. Yeah, because you're getting Times Pulse, which is pretty solid. It's not just Times Pulse either. It's just at the start of turn, if your special cooldown count is at its maximum. Actually, that is Times Pulse, right? Okay, so you get the Times Pulse, you get the -1. You can combo that, of course, with Mart's Ring to get another -1. So you can pre-charge AoEs pretty easily with this. Then you're getting all stats of 14, which is very good. The DR on Brave attacks is okay. Null follow-up is very good, though, which I don't think Gap's dagger had null follow-up, so that's nice. Gap's dagger also required the enemies to have debuffs prior to combat, which it's not that difficult to do that, because, like, there's a lot of good debuff units like Hortensia and Legendary Camilla and, like, the Gold Border Ploy skills and things like that. So that's not, like, unthinkable. But it's not the easiest thing also. Like, sometimes you just want to be getting something more tangible than that. So this looks like a pretty good dagger. Okay, so Bane, I think they said that this special is not inheritable. So he has Bane here as a 2-hit special. Treats foes' defense and res stats as if reduced by 40% when special triggers. When special triggers, nullifies foes' DR effects from non-special skills. And also if damage dealt prior to damage reduction calculation is greater than foes' HP -1. Sets damage before damage reduction as foes' HP -1. Excluding certain foes such as Rooker. Huh? If damage dealt prior to damage reduction calculation is, no, less than foes' HP -1, sets damage before damage reduction as foes' HP -1. That is not computing. The math is not mathing in my brain for this. If units or foes special is ready or triggered before or during this combat, reduces damage from foes' next attack by 30%. Oh, it also gives you non-pierceable DR. That's interesting. Once per combat, excluding AoEs. It seems like a good special here. I just don't really understand what it's talking about there. Alright, let's see. What else does he have? Attack and speed finish 4. We have... Oh, actually, it's not disarm trap 4. It's potent disarm. Interesting. Okay, inflict speed and defense -4 on the foe in combat. If decreasing the speed difference necessary to make a follow-up by 25 would allow a unit to trigger a follow-up. Excluding guaranteed or prevented follow-ups, triggers potent follow-up X% during combat. So he gets the potent effect, basically. He gets the extra attack. And then while attacking an AR, if unit ends movement on a bolt trap or a heavy trap, cancels the trap. And then if he ends his turn on a hex trap, reduces the hex trap condition by 10 HP. So this is just straight up better than Disarm Trap 4, essentially. Because you're getting Potent, which is better than half a null follow-up from that. I think that one also gave a little bit of DR, which, I mean, you don't really care too much for if you're trying to go through traps. This is a more tangible effect and just a better effect in general to get the Potent. So that's actually really good. And then he also has Attack and Speed Pledge. So right out of the box, this guy has some very good fodder. You'll be able to get Pledge 4 or Pledge and also Disarm Potent in one go on your dagger type units. So that's pretty good. Or if you want to go for the dagger, you could go for that too. Okay, so here we go now with Micaiah. So she's an attuned hero. She's going to have a new Echo skill. And apparently she really loves the color green, which I did not know about her. If I had to choose a color I thought Micaiah liked, I would have said blue, maybe. Like, she's always wearing blue, right? Never green. So she's going to be a flying green tome type unit. Okay. Alright, she just did a bunch of stuff there. She healed, and then she had also, like, some kind of recovery effect. Interesting. Alright, Silver of Dawn. 14 might, 2 range. Effective against cavalry and armor, of course. Like Micaiah's always are. We have -1 special trigger. Allies in 2 spaces a unit can move to any space within 2 spaces a unit. Okay, so she just has... she has Ash's Open Domain, I think it's called. Which is just better than Guidance 4 and Soaring Guidance because that applies to all movement types. At the start of enemy phase, restores 10 HP to unit and allies in 2 spaces a unit. Okay, so party-wide healing there on the enemy phase, which is interesting. After start of turn effects trigger on the enemy phase, converts penalties on unit and allies in 2 spaces a unit into bonuses. Oh, that's pretty good. And also neutralizes 2 penalty effects on unit, excluding stat penalties. Does not apply to penalty effects that are applied at the same time. How does it calculate which 2 it's going to do? Neutralizes the first applicable penalty effects on units list of active effects. Okay, that's how it calculates. So it just goes down the list in order, I would assume. That's pretty good, actually. That's really good. Especially for, like, Aether Raid's defense. You can run her as, like, an an alternate to Sothe, where she's probably just going to be better than Sothe considering she has the warping. And then she's giving healing, and then she's also giving this too. Like, she can neutralize some penalty effects, and red debuffs turn into bonuses. It's pretty good. Also, at the start of combat, if unit's HP is over 25%, inflicts attack and res -6 on the foe, inflicts penalty on foe's attack and res during combat, equal to 20% of unit's res at the start of combat. Neutralize foe's bonuses to attack and res, and unit deals damage plus X to... or deals plus X damage during combat, where X is number of allies in 3 rows or 3 columns centered on unit times 5, so a max of 15, excluding AoEs. Yeah, so then on top of that, she's a crazy damage dealer with double type effectiveness. So yeah, she seems pretty good. Alright, then we have also Maiden Solace, converts penalties on target into bonuses, and then converts any penalty that remains. Recovers HP to target equal to current HP -1. And then reduces unit's HP by the amount restored, which can be used for setups to get, like, a Desperation effect or Wings of Mercy or something like that. So, Micaiah's assists are always really good. Alright, then we have Fire Flood Boost 3. Yune's Protection. So, they also gave her a unique B skill, too. Interesting. Okay, at the start of turn, if any foes have the highest attack, speed, defense, or res on the enemy team, inflicts exposure and discord on those foes. Okay, that's pretty strong. And inflicts -7 on the corresponding stat of those foes and foes in 2 spaces of those foes through the next actions. And if unit initiates combat or is in 2 spaces of an ally, inflicts attack and res -5 on the foe. Inflicts a penalty on foes' attack and res equal to the highest penalty on each stat between target and foes in 2 spaces of target. And reduces the percentage of foes' non-special DR by half. So essentially, she's just Bride Micaiah, but better. She lacks the duo skill, but basically what she seems like is just a better Bride Micaiah. Okay, then she has also attack and res Crux, which is pretty nice. So we're getting more of these Crux skills, which is cool because they allow all your allies to do guaranteed follow-ups if the enemies fall within 3 rows and 3 columns centered on the unit, and also the stat drops too. And then her Echo skill is Far Trace Echo, so enables Cancel Rem with a min of 1. Unit deals +3 damage during combat. And then also you get the Cancel Rem, including when dealing damage with a special triggered before combat, so... Seems pretty solid, actually. It's not too shabby of an Echo skill. Should only be applicable to your cavalry and flying type units, though. But, yeah, you're getting a little bit of extra damage there, and then... yeah, so much for Death Blow Echo, right? And +4 attack. How about +3 attack and then Cancel Rem? How about we go for that? But of course, Death Blow Echo can be given to non-cavalry and flying type units. Alright, so what else is there to talk about here? Is that everything? Alright, then they're just showing off all the warping you can do. Yeah, then the healing, and then the recovering, and then... yeah, this guy's toast. Arvel is no match for Micaiah. Okay. Alright, so of course also the attuned heroes can be used as fodder banks, just like the, the rearmed heroes. And then over here we have Deer Dude on the map, so I think his name is Ecternir, if that's how you say it. He doesn't seem like a bad guy. He actually was about to attack Ratatoskr and then he hesitated in the little movie thing. So I don't think Deer Dude is a bad guy. But we're going to see a lot of info for him. He seems like a colorless beast type, so we're going to get his weapon info, his artwork, and all that good stuff. His transformation, which should be interesting. Yo, this is about to be the craziest data mine, man. This is insane. It's going to be the never-ending night of data mines and information. So let me know your thoughts on all this in the comment section down below. This is your boy Tasho signing out, so take care, fellas, and I'll catch y'all again on the flip side.